Hi, OP friends. It was time for an outfit change. I was really into my rainbow stripes and my green beret, but sometimes it just doesn't feel authentic when I look a certain way, but I don't feel that same way inside. I don't know if that makes any sense, but I just felt like I needed a contrast and I needed to change things up. Also, I got a new shirt and I'm really mad that you guys can't even see it. So yay, it just says Los Angeles and I miss living in LA. This is another shirt that I bought off of Vinted, the secondhand app, and well, this is only the third shirt I've ever bought, but I have not paid more than $10 for any of my shirts, and I used to sell a lot of my clothes on Vinted, so I only recently started buying it just to see what the experience was like, and I'm kind of hooked. It's like an app-based thrift shop, treasure hunting, right? I love that. So yeah, I'm pretty sure I paid like $8 for this shirt and I love it. This is from, of course, John Galt, Brandy Melville, as usual. So yesterday I talked about how I am now convinced, as of yesterday on day 24, that I am an NETI, which is an ENTP. And I went into a lot of the detail why I thought that that could be my type. And the reasons are there, the reasons are solid. I want to again reiterate that Myers-Briggs type and OP type are nothing alike. So I've said this before, I almost wish they used completely different terminology because for someone who is a Myers-Briggs INFP, which I am, and to make things worse, I'm trained and certified in Myers-Briggs. So it's the way my mind is programmed. I would say Myers-Briggs is more identity-based and how you feel about yourself. It is a self-assessment and it's also how you see the world. But for OP, it really is what functions are you relying on in a savior state? What functions come out in a demon state where you do get weird and agitated and you start ranting? And it's really just picking up on those. It is very jarring to go from Myers-Briggs into OP, but this is just a big experiment for me. It's basically my video diary of going from the Myers-Briggs world into the OP world. It is uncomfortable. It's not what I expected, but it's a great learning experience because it's just another perspective in which to see the world. And I like that. So if you're interested in my journey, go back and watch my videos. You'll see on a day-to-day basis, I flip-flop and say, oh my God, today I'm this. Someone else convinced me that I'm this. These typers got back to me and said, I'm definitely this. Each time that happens, I do step back and look at all the reasons to support what they're giving me. It's really just a day-by-day evolution of me understanding OP and also finding where in the 512 types I fit into. I think if it's helpful, I will make a video in the future about how Myers-Briggs and OP are different, the exact ways in which they're different. And I think objective personality have completely different definitions of the functions, but they just don't do a good job of putting it out there. And so that's why a lot of people will come and say, what are they talking about? That's completely untrue. And again, I also have my own criticisms as to whether objective personality is objective. I think that they have come up with some amazing discoveries and great patterns, and it's a great tool. I think that maybe they should have just called it something else that's not objective, because that's the part where everyone's going to hammer in and say, no, 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 it's not objective. And I'm kind of one of them. So they probably could have just called it something else to save a lot of the heat and the debate and the criticism. But I respect them because they put in the time and the miles and the hours to uncover all of these patterns. No one else has done that and come up with 512 personality types. So I do respect them for that. Maybe it's the way that they're going about doing it is not the best from a tribe perspective, and it is going to be criticized, but they just maybe are not doing the best job at defining things and clarifying things and educating everyone else so that we are all on the same page. And that is the reason why everyone is just in disagreement. People can't type the same, and you ask like 5 different teams of typers, they all come back with completely different things. And I think that's what's going on. As someone who wants to learn all of the OP things, it's like I get frustrated and mad that there's not one organized, cohesive database where I can look up all the notes. The way that it's organized and laid out is not the best, but it is because they were teaching as they went along. So it's funny that I would say, why isn't there an organized database? Because if I were to also have this discovery of the personality world where there were things that I felt obligated to share, would I be able to organize it all in a nice way to present? No. No. But as the people, that's what we all demand. They are only two people, and they are putting out this content in the best way that they can given their own personality constraints. I think that it still is the early days of objective personality, and that at some point someone is going to have to come in and really parse through all the data and all of the classes, everything, and put it all together in a more organized fashion that's only going to help them. So I hope that that happens for them in the future. Okay, so I'm not intending to defend them or to say that OP is the truth or anything like that. I'm not. I respect what they're doing, and I'm gonna just learn what I can from their assessment world, the same way that I looked into the Myers-Briggs world, the Big Five personality assessment. And there's many assessment tools out there, and this is just another way to understand the world and to understand humans. And so I'll take that. It's absolutely amazing how many different opinions there are on OP and Myers-Briggs. And I expected to go into this, documenting myself on a day-to-day video diary type of setting. I did not expect all of the different comments and criticisms and people that are so sure of their point of view, whether they're saying, no, you're definitely this type, or no, only Dave and Shan can type you. That part of this journey has been very unexpected, and so I'm glad I'm documenting this. It's 2020 now, but maybe in the future OP will make itself a little bit more digestible to the masses. But at its current point, we just have to take it for what it is and just learn from the patterns that they've uncovered, because they have interviewed thousands and thousands and thousands of people. Have I interviewed thousands of people? No. So you have to give them credit for that. Okay, so in OP, that was probably my demon state, where I did not want to talk about that and have to defend people and have to explain, but I felt cornered into having to defend objective personality as a tool, and to everything is valid in its own ways. And I think that we are more or less going to be programmed thinking in one way or another, which is why it's so confusing to bridge the two. Anyway, ever since I started this OP journey, the first typing I ever got was, "You're definitely lead TI." Okay. And then the second typing I got was, "You're definitely SIFI." Okay. And then after that, my initial assessment that from a team that I'm currently waiting for the final results from, they said it's looking like FESE or TESE. Now, someone who has been formally typed by Dave and Shan shared his assessment tapes with me, and after listening to it, I agree that he saw a lot of the similar troubles and problems and spikes in different reactions. And because of him, now I believe that I am an NETI from a function perspective, not from an identity perspective. I'm not saying I am ENTP, but I sure do use NETI in a very savior state. It's a comfortable state for me, versus when I talk about other things, you can see that my demeanor, my posture, the force of my voice starts to change. And that's when you know that someone is in a demon state, is when they're expending energy to try to talk about something rather than just being in a relaxed, calm, breathing, no worries manner. So don't worry, guys. I know what I'm doing. This is really just a video journey. I want to take you along with me to show you how traumatic it is to move from Myers-Briggs into OP. And I just want you guys to see all of the drama that unfolds. Like, there's drama. The big event that I'm building up to is that I want to get typed by Dave and Shan in the future, and then compare their assessment to everything that I've learned along the way and all the people I've met along the way who said, no, you're definitely this, you're definitely this. I really want to see that play out as the grand experiment. Whatever I get typed as in the end, is it going to change my identity? No. Is it going to change the way I see the world? No. I'm pretty self-aware. I think I know what I'm deficient at and what I'm good at and what I'm aware of. So it's not going to be this like identity changing thing. It's just the whole journey is what I wanted to document. It's also interesting to see the evolution of me in these videos. I only started this 25 days ago, and I put out a video every single day for 25 days. And in the beginning, you can see me so uncomfortable and shy and quiet and withdrawn and That was only 25 days ago. And now I am able to sit here every day, have a system, fit this into my days, and have a setup here. And it's so interesting that if I had shown my very first few videos to a typer, they would probably immediately say, you seem very mopey, right? You're very quiet. The words aren't coming out very quickly. But as time progresses, I become more comfortable, and then you can see my wheels turning and the way I speak, and everything just starts to become a little bit more lubricated and natural. And so that's another thing that I wanted to document about this process too, is depending on which video I send to typers, are they going to come back to me with something that is unique to that video, or are they able to see the same thing in every situation? I want to know that too. Okay, that was really exhausting because I don't actually feel comfortable teaching. I don't. I can talk about how I feel and my thoughts on things and my reasonings, just psychoanalyzing myself. But when I have to teach things is when I start to fumble, because most likely it's because I'm blast low. And so I don't feel comfortable sharing things because I want it to be accurate, and I don't want to mess up. If you're in a teaching position, you're responsible for accuracy. I don't want anyone to think that I'm here to teach. I'm not. I don't want to do that. Like, no, thank you. No, thank you. That doesn't interest me at all. But I'm really here to just document my journey. I'm here to document my journey. That's all. That's all. So the part that I'm having a lot of trouble deciphering is whether my tidal waves and my big issues play out in the thing world, the control and chaos world, or the tribe world, the people world. I thought that I was always reacting and sensitive to people problems because I have had a lot of self-esteem issues. I have had an eating disorder, depression, and it all stems from comparison with the tribe and not understanding why I never fit in. And so I always thought that that was my tidal wave, that was my hero's journey. And I did have a lot of therapy, antidepressants, just all kinds of things to handle and manage that part of it. But at the same time, my thing life, my material life, is something that really, really messes me up. And if you just look at my videos, I'm always complaining and talking about how I can't get my shit together. I can't manage my life. I can't manage my schoolwork. Everything is piling up. What do I do? People are starting to get mad at me for it. And so I'm trying to weigh, which is it? Which is it? I don't know, because both feel so incredibly real to me. So that's the reason why I'm more and more convinced that I am NETI, because that would make control and chaos my tidal wave. I am always trying to manage the tidal waves that come with the control and the chaos of not being able to have orderly system in my life. I don't even want to show you guys my desk right now. All you see is a white background, so you think that it's like a clean desk. No, it is. I don't even want to show you. I don't want to show you my bedroom because there's just piles of clothes, piles of things. I don't have a system. I never have. And it's so overwhelming to me. Whenever I try to clean or to purge my things, I almost want to cry because I don't know how to do it. And I will literally sit in my pile of things, just picking each thing up and thinking, oh, I could use this for that. And oh, I love this because it has a lot of sentimental memory. And then I get nowhere. Managing the control and chaos is definitely an issue to me, but maybe I felt that the tribe issues were more emotionally charged. So I thought that that was my tidal waves and my biggest issues and the things that I had to go to therapy for. At this point, I'm not sure. They feel very equally daunting to me. When it comes to the control and chaos portion of my life, it's something that I tend to ignore because it's a little too painful and overwhelming. And so I do have slight awareness that things are starting to pile up, things are about to get knocked over, it's right at the edge, but I just kind of ignore it and hope for the best because I don't know how to manage it. Maybe that plays into control and chaos actually being my issue. I'm not sure. But if you just look at the past 25 days of my videos, I really don't mention anything about people. And the only video that I break down crying, it's because everything is just falling apart in my life because I can't manage my schoolwork and all of my responsibilities. And I ignore it until someone like my husband brings it up. And then when I'm forced to confront it and deal with it is when I break down. And so I have to consider all of these possibilities, and that maybe controlling chaos is my tidal wave. So on that note, I wanted to share something with you guys. For the past 4 or 5 months, my E and I keys on my keyboard on my laptop have been stuck. And so every time I'm like typing things or doing my homework, the E and the I will always input twice. And so I have to go back every single time and correct it. It's a huge waste of time, but I just kind of powered through it and just let it happen and then would correct it later. But yesterday, after watching some of the Jordan Peterson videos, which I'll get into, I thought, maybe I need to take responsibility for these small things as they happen and not ignore it until it becomes a huge problem. And so yesterday, I actually popped off my keys with a little safety pin and I cleaned out the dust and I popped it back in and it's working fine. And now I don't have to do that anymore. I can literally just type out my homework and just do everything without backspacing all the time. And that was a huge victory for me. So I was kind of proud of myself for that. So in one of my classes, which is industrial organizational psychology, we had to do a paper analyzing an infamously bad leader. And I chose to go with Scar from The Lion King. When I was writing that paper, and first of all, it's not even a paper, it's a discussion post, but there was like maybe 6 questions that I had to answer. Something that is a discussion question should only be taking, I don't know, like an hour or something to do. It took me so long. And the reason is I could not narrow down my research. I just kept grabbing more and more and more articles about Scar and all of his different traits and behaviors and the way he leads. I was just overwhelmed with the amount of tabs and the amount of things that I had copied and pasted into my document, and just trying to narrow down that information into one cohesive point was so difficult for me. I am starting to gain awareness over these things. Maybe that is my out of control NE wanting to grab everything. And once I have everything, the muscle that I don't have is narrowing down. So yesterday I watched 3 typing classes with NETIs just to see if they are somehow similar to me, because yesterday I was convinced that I was NETI, still am. And the first one I watched was Jordan Peterson. I need to watch more content on him because he's clearly this incredible person and he's culturally significant because he's helped so many people. And watching him, I do see how we're similar because he is talking about how people want to do these massive changes in their life when all they need to do is to first start with what's immediately around them. So keeping your room in order. And if you're able to just keep your room in order, the ripple effect of that on yourself in your home, for the other people in your home, for your belongings, for your sanity, for the ripple effects of something so small can really change your life. And so that's where he comes in and he tries to talk about that, because there are people who are so depressed that they can't do anything and they're stuck in their homes, and people are telling them, you need to go out and talk to people and accomplish your dreams. And to someone who is just depressed and in their room, they can't manage that, but they can manage just managing their room, controlling the chaos in their room. And just by starting there, it's just an enormous ripple effect over your life. That was the message. And of course, his brilliant hero's journey that he went through and the gold that he retrieved at the end, where he says, look guys, look what I discovered. It really is management and control over your things. That is something that I very much relate to, because I still haven't figured out how to manage my things and my schedule and just managing anything. I just let it go with the flow to my own detriment. And another interesting thing about him is that because his FE is coming from a demon state, he comes across as just very calm and rational, but when he starts talking about certain things, he unexpectedly starts crying. And he is talking about his audience reaction. He says, it makes me want to cry just thinking about it, but After my talks, people they line up and they talk to me and they really only have 30 seconds or whatever. And so I'm really, really listening to what they're saying. And a lot of the times they tell me, thank you, because of you, I was able to talk to my dad and I hadn't talked to him in 10 years. Or like a kid who's just been locked in his room because he's so depressed, but he was able to get a system for his room. And then that just multiplied into him being able to get a part-time job. And now his parents are happy. And the ripple effects of such small things. And he said, those those moments are so important to me because when they come and tell me these things, these people don't get any encouragement or any support. And so just one small piece of encouragement to them means everything. See, like I'm crying, but he's the one that's actually facilitating it and living it and seeing the real world tangible results of what he's doing. And like that would make me so emotional too. So anyway, I his whole message and the way he thinks, the way he processes things really, really did resonate with me. And the reason why I want to become a therapist and I want to help people is basically for the same reasons. Okay, so if so if feeling was a savior state for me, or if even in a relatively balanced position, I'd be able to talk about this without getting super emotional and choked up. But I think because feeling is my demon state, that's why it just comes out like this, where even I don't want to do it, I don't want to express it, but it just comes out. And that's the reason why I'm really relating to this NETI type. Okay, so anyway, I did not mean to get emotional like that. I think that every time I do start crying in real life, it is like that, where something from deep, deep, deep down just gets moved and I can't control it. I'm not in control of it. And I always thought that because I was an emotional person that I was feeling dominant, but I don't think that's true. I don't think that's true. If it was savior state, I wouldn't be just choking up and not being able to get through things. But I think that I understand that now. I'll never forget at one point when I had a discussion about depression with my husband, but he was my boyfriend at the time. This is really early on in our relationship, and he said something about depressed people and he kind of brushed them off, and in a way where I thought was very insensitive, because I have struggled with depression and I know how dark and hard it is. And I just remember at that point getting so defensive and upset. And while I was talking, I was just fighting back tears because I think that's because I think that it's my feeling in a demon state. Like, it's so stupid. But that's how intense my feelings are. And I don't like it because I don't have control over it. I don't. And me thinking that I'm a feeler because I can get emotional, I don't think that's true. I think I just labeled myself a feeler because I do get emotional, but the emotional states I have are very unbalanced, very, very unstable. I have no control over it. I have no control over it. So I already know that if I am able to pursue my career as a psychedelic therapist, and if I have to do speeches or presentations and this type of situation happens, I'm not going to be able to control it. I think I would just break down, like on camera. Like that's super like embarrassing, but I know that I'm wired that way and that I'm not going to be able to help it. Anyway, I was not expecting to cry on my video today. Anyway, Anyway, so he is a very interesting character, and apparently he is quite controversial, but I don't know any of that. And so I have to look into him more. I want to listen to his podcast with Joe Rogan. It seems like he has a ton of content out there. So I'm going to start listening to it and see if a lot of the arguments he makes and just the way he is similar to me. So the next class that I watched was Neil deGrasse Tyson, and he is awesome. He is awesome. And obviously, his class just took chunks and portions of him being in a relaxed savior state, talking about possibilities and his own research. And then he gets really fired up when he's in a group of NTs, just pure NT nerds, and they're talking about, we have all this research, we have all this proof, we have all this evidence, but Neil has to be the one to step in and say, you guys are getting it wrong. You have to make it appealing to the people. Otherwise, your research means nothing. It means nothing. There have been drones and rovers on the moon. When a man is on the moon, the man will always overshadow the object or the robot. And so you have to think about what is emotionally appealing to the people in order to get your research seen. And so he has to play that role. And I thought he was such a fascinating character because if I were also in a setting, if you're watching this and you think that I am a different type, please comment, please reach out to me and tell me what you think I am, and explain why, I'll address that and I'll challenge it, I'll debate it, I'll look into it, I'll unpack it. Thanks again for watching my ridiculous video, and I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye.